Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, get ready, because we're heading back to Hawkins, Indiana today.
Back to the upside down.
Exactly, our mission. We're going to unpack everything we know, like all the current intel on the final season of Stranger
A
Things.
big one, season 5.
Yeah, landing in 2025. Since 2016, this show, it's just woven this amazing mix of 80s nostalgia, all the supernatural stuff, and these characters you really care about.
Characters who feel like real people almost.
Right. And we've got some clues now, thanks to a Stranger Things Season 5 preview podcast source. It gives some hints about how it all wraps up.
So we're basically cutting through all the noise for you?
Yeah, just the essentials, so you're totally prepped for the final chapter.
Exactly. Think of it as your shortcut through all the season 5 info swirling around. We've looked at the key bits.
Like the episode titles?
Yeah, the titles, where the characters might be headed, the big bad coming back. Vecna, yeah. And even some fan theories doing the rounds. The goal is just to give you a clearer picture, maybe a richer feel for what's coming, without getting totally bogged down.
Okay, cool. So let's just dive right in then. The big headline, obviously. Season 5, it's the end.
It is the end of this story anyway. The Hawkins saga.
The whole thing that kicked off with Will going missing, 11 showing up, it's kind of bittersweet, isn't it?
It really is. Almost a decade this show's been with us.
Yeah.
And yeah, it started with Will Byers vanishing, and now that specific journey is closing out.
And we know filming's done.
Filming is wrapped, yeah. And everyone's pointing towards 2025 for the release. So this is actually a good time to, chew over what we do know.
Speaking of chewing things over,
Yeah.
those episode titles. Netflix dropped all 8.
Mm-hmm.
We got The Crawl, The Vanishing of Redacted, very intriguing, The Storm, The Dive, The Memory, The Void, The Return, and then boom, The Upside Down.
Right.
What do you make of that list, that progression?
Well, it almost feels like a story in itself, doesn't it? The Crawl makes you think of something creeping in, maybe slow burn tension.
Yeah, Insidious.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that redacted title, pure mystery. Someone or something important disappears, clearly. But who? What? It just fuels speculation.
Totally.
Then it feels like things ramp up, right? The storm, the dive.
Yeah.
Sounds like major conflict, maybe going deep into danger.
And then it gets kind of internal, the memory, the void. That feels different, like maybe psychological or exploring the upside down's nature more.
Yeah, I think so too. The void, especially, that's evocative. A bit unsettling. Could it link back to 11, her powers?
Oh, interesting connection, that psychic space she goes into.
Could be. Or maybe it means, facing emptiness. Or just diving into the deepest unknown parts of the upside down. Got possibilities.
And ending on the upside down, that feels pretty deliberate.
Oh, absolutely. It screams final confrontation, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Everything gets resolved there, brings it all full circle back to where so much of the trouble started. It's a powerful final title.
Yeah. Definitely sets the stage. Okay, let's shift to the characters. 11. Millie Bobby Brown. We've seen this incredible arc for her. Started out so mysterious, almost like a tool or a weapon.
Right. Defined by her powers.
And now she's really the emotional anchor for the whole group. What do you think season 5 holds for her?
Well, her journey's been kind of the backbone of the show's appeal, I think. From outsider to finding her humanity, her sense of self. Season 5 feels like the ultimate test of all that.
How so?
Like, she'll have to face the external threats, sure, but also the full weight of her past, Her abilities, the consequences. Will she fully own her power? Can she make peace with where she came from? Big stuff.
And the OG kids, Mike, Will, Dustin, Lucas, man, we've watched them grow up.
Literally.
Yeah.
From D&D in the basement.
To fighting actual monsters from another dimension while dealing with, high school drama?
Yeah, their friendship has always been the core, hasn't it? That loyalty, even when things got terrifyingly real. They've all had their own struggles. Fear, who they are, just navigating being teenagers. Season 5, it feels like their bond and their individual strengths are going to be pushed to the absolute limit.
Is that childhood friendship going to be enough, you think, against whatever's coming?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Okay, and here's where it gets, really intense. Vecna.
Yeah. Still gives me chills.
He was so terrifying in season 4, and it's confirmed he's back as the main villain.
Right. The big bad.
And he's not just some random monster. He's got this deep, twisted history with Hawkins, with the lab, and critically with 11 herself. Why is his return such a big deal?
Well, Vecna brought this psychological horror element that was maybe different from previous seasons. His whole backstory, Henry Creel, one, then Vecna, it's all tied up with the Upside Down's origins and Hawkins' lab secrets.
So it's personal for 11.
deeply personal. It's not just fighting a monster. It's like a reckoning for her, facing her past, their shared history. And it forces us to ask, what is the Upside Down, really? Is Vecna its master, its creation, or something else?
That raises so many questions, which kind of leads us to new people. Linda
I
Hamilton.
know, Sarah Connor herself.
Huge news. Icon of sci-fi. What kind of role do you picture her playing in this final season?
Well, just her name brings this feeling of, like, toughness, resilience.
Totally.
Given her action background, you figure she's playing someone capable, maybe someone who gets what's going on, maybe has skills to fight back, an ally.
Or maybe not.
Or maybe not. Could be another complication, another threat maybe.
Yeah.
Adds intrigue for sure. Her casting definitely signals they're bringing in some heavy hitters for the finale.
And visually, sounds like they're going all out. The Duffer Brothers keep talking about a cinematic feel.
Yeah, like each episode is basically a movie.
Which, after season 4 scale, sets the bar pretty high. Especially for anything involving the Upside Down. What are you expecting visually?
The Upside Down has always been more than just, creepy scenery. It reflects the darkness, the trauma.
Right.
So cinematic feel. I'm expecting even more immersive, maybe more terrifying visuals of that dimension. The final battles. 11's powers unleashed. It could be spectacular. The visual storytelling is going to be key to sticking the landing.
Okay, now, we gotta talk fan theories.
Oh yeah, the internet's got to be buzzing.
Non-stop. Speculation about time jumps, who lives, who dies, and, like we touched on, the real nature of the Upside Down. Any theories that you find particularly interesting?
There's one that keeps popping up, and it's kind of fascinating. The idea that the Upside Down isn't just parallel, but maybe it's Hawkins, like an echo, frozen on one specific traumatic day.
Whoa, like November 6th, 1983, when Will disappeared.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Or some other key moment of trauma for the town. It could explain why it looks decayed, stuck. Adds this tragic layer, Like they're not just fighting monsters, but the town's own painful past made manifest.
That's heavy. The Upside Down as Hawkins' psychic scar tissue.
Yeah, something like that. It really speaks to how the show mixes the horror with deeper stuff about trauma and memory. Even if it's not true, theories like that show how rich the world building is.
For sure. And looking bigger picture, Stranger Things, it's undeniably huge, right? A cultural phenomenon.
Absolutely.
The way it brought back 80s music, Kate Bush everywhere.
Running up that hill.
Exactly. And fashion, other shows trying to capture that vibe. What do you think made it connect so massively?
I think it was kind of a perfect storm. That 80s nostalgia was powerful, sure. It felt familiar and warm to some, like kind of magical and cool to others.
Right.
But it wasn't just references. It had a really good original story. Characters you genuinely rooted for. That mixed nostalgia, great story, cool music, memorable visuals. It just clicked.
So, wrapping things up, looking ahead to season 5, what are the main takeaways? What should we be bracing ourselves for?
Okay, bottom line. Expect resolution. They got to tie up loose ends, answer those big questions we've had for years.
Satisfying conclusion, hopefully.
Hopefully. And given everything that's happened, expect high stakes, big emotions. Probably going to be moments of triumph, but maybe some heartbreak too. The intensity should be cranked way up.
Sounds about right. One last blast of that Stranger Things special sauce, the nostalgia, the horror, the feels.
That blend. It's shaking up to be a huge farewell to Hawkins.
The anticipation's definitely real. It's earned it, though. Years of great TV.
Totally. This final season could really cement its place as, like, an iconic series.
Well, that about wraps up our deep dive for today, looking at what we know about Stranger Things Season 5 based on that preview source.
Yeah, it's been interesting sorting through it all. Hopefully it gives you a better sense of what's possibly coming down the pike in Hawkins.
So as you wait for 2025, here's something to chew on. We know the episode titles point towards the void and end with the Upside Down. Thinking back on everything, what specific character connection or maybe unresolved plot thread from earlier seasons do you think will be the absolute linchpin in that final showdown? Something to ponder while we wait.